Good morning. It is Wednesday, November 24th, and this is Devotions from St. Paul Evangelical Lutheran Church in Carlisle, Pennsylvania. This past Sunday, we celebrated Christ the King Sunday. It's the last Sunday of the church year, and everything we did talked about Christ being the ruler of this universe. We saw passages from Daniel and from Revelations that talk about the host of heaven coming to worship and bow down before Christ. We saw the gospel from John that talked about Pilate questioning Jesus, "Are you a king?" And Jesus responding, "My kingdom is not of this world." I'd like to continue the idea of Christ the King with the first hymn that we sang on Sunday. And that song was "Lead On, O King Eternal." A lot of times I sing old songs like this one, something that I've known for over 50 years, and don't really think about all the words that are in it. But I'd like to take a few of the passages and just consider what they talk about. The first verse starts off, "Lead on, O King Eternal. The day of March has come. Henceforth in fields of conquest, your tents shall be our home." Let's take some parts of that. First, kingship. We acknowledge that Christ is the King. We acknowledge that He is the head of our church, that He is the one that we worship. Okay. But then we say the day of March has come. It's a time for action. It is time for us to get up and do something. Not just sit and acknowledge, but to actually follow Christ and do something for Him, like Him, with Him. He continues that theme in the second part of that, where your tent shall be our home. We're going to follow your lead. We're going to do as you did. We are going to go where you go. Christ told us, take up your cross and follow us. It's implied in this passage. In the second verse, we get the term, "Till sin's fierce wars shall cease." That's going to be a long time. That's every day. That's thinking about it now, thinking about it tomorrow, and acting on it. It's forever. It's not a day we can take off. It's a day we have to think about it. It also talks in that second verse about acts of love and mercy. And so it's not talking about a physical combat. In fact, it says very specifically, this is not a physical combat. But it's the actions we have in relationship to each other. Actions such as Christ exemplified for us that is going to win this war. The third verse has a part that's a little bit of a challenge because it says, "We follow not with fears." I don't know about you, but a lot of times I worry about the things that I think I'm called to do. I worry about how I'm going to be perceived. And yet, that's not what I should be afraid of. I should be afraid that I don't do enough, that I'm not dedicated enough, that I'm not day to day involved with doing Christ's work. And finally, we get the idea, your cross is lifted o'er us. The cross is such a powerful symbol. Christ died on the cross to forgive our sins, to allow us the entrance into everlasting life, the ultimate sacrifice. That sacrifice should be our example. That sacrifice should be the guiding torch that gets us to work and to do the things that Christ would have us to do. As you go through your day, think about the words of this song just as much as you think about the passages from the readings that we had Sunday. Christ is our King. Christ is our example. Christ is our leader. And we are so blessed because of it. Thank you.